Welcome to this week's edition of New York Now. I'm Dan Clark. Impeachment proceedings have begun in the state assembly to remove Governor Andrew Cuomo from office. Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie said Thursday that the Judiciary Committee will lead the probe that's alongside a separate investigation from the state AG's office. 6 women have now accused Cuomo of inappropriate behavior, including sexual harassment. Our partner, the Albany Times-Union, reported this week that Cuomo was accused of groping a woman at the executive mansion in Albany. Cuomo has denied the claims and told me this week that not only is he not planning to resign, but that a 4th term in office is still on the table.
I'm focusing on my job. My job is vaccines, getting a budget done, rebuilding New York. Second, Dan, you don't know any facts. Right? You know allegations. You don't know facts.
So let's get into it with Bernadette Hogan from the New York Post and Marina Villenueve from the AP. Thanks so much for being here, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's start with the Assembly investigation because it just came out on Thursday evening and we are taping on Friday morning. So just a reminder to our viewers that if you're viewing this after Friday morning and the governor has resigned, I apologize. You are free to switch the channel. I won't be offended. So let's start with the Assembly investigation. What does it look like? The Judiciary Committee is going to be leading it. The Judiciary Committee has not really done this in recent memory as far as I know, so what do we know?
Right. Well, first of all, there's only been one impeachment ever in the state of New York. Governor back in the early 1900s.
1913, William Sulzer.
1913, exactly.
I've heard a lot about him in the past week.
Yes, so have I. And so this is something that, and if you look at the state constitution, it's very broad, but either way, impeachment proceedings do start in the assembly. But what happened yesterday was Democrats in the state assembly were discussing a path forward, and Speaker Carl Heastie has been listening to his members, some of whom want the governor impeached for, of course, the allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct, as well as the nursing home scandal that's been ongoing. But then others in the assembly are concerned. They're saying, you know, we want Attorney General Tish James's investigation to play out. So, however, we are very troubled by these details, by these women who have come out against the governor. So what happened yesterday was Carl Heastie had a conference with the Democrats, and they decided that they are going to have an investigation of their own in the Judiciary Committee, which will allow them to call witnesses to testify, give evidence, and they also have subpoena power. So what this looks like, and Speaker Heastie, he's calling it a path towards potential impeachment proceedings, which is very interesting because he was not there a week ago.
Right, and I think this is putting the ball in the court of the Judiciary Committee rather than the Speaker coming out and saying, I want him impeached or resigning. Now he hands it over and they have a little bit more time to discuss how they actually want to move forward, whether that's putting more pressure on him to resign or moving forward with impeachment. There are a number of possibilities here.
Right.
Marina, the AG's office is doing an investigation at the same time. How does this interfere with that? Is it going to, is it going to interfere, I guess is the question.
Yeah, and the AG yesterday, she said that the two inquiries aren't going to interfere with each other. I spoke with a committee member who is hopeful that the committee and the AG's office are going to try to sort of map out a game plan going forward. And yeah, the investigation could definitely be wide-ranging. It could look at the sexual harassment allegations and the nursing home scandal as well.
Do we know a timeline of either probe? I mean, that's the thing that's missing for a lot of people in the public, I think, is how fast is this actually going to happen?
Yeah, for some, I think that there is a hope that it could be wrapped up somewhat time relatively soon. There's, I think, some who think it could take months and months and months, but I have spoken to some lawmakers who think that it perhaps could get wrapped up sooner than that. And with the Judiciary Committee, we have no idea. One of the lawmakers on the committee said he hoped it could be relatively quick, but there's a lot for them to go through.
Right, just thinking of because I covered law before this and investigations like this, the biggest challenge that people have in depositions is scheduling. It sounds so simple, but it's like, if you want to talk to 10 people, you have to find 10 different days to talk to them for 3 hours, and that could stretch out over a month. It could stretch out over 2 months, but it depends on how thorough you want the investigation to be. Bern, how is the governor reacting to all of this? We haven't heard from him as of Friday morning since the impeachment investigation was announced, but we did hear from him on Tuesday.
Right. Well, the governor staunchly has said he is not resigning right now. He has a budget to due April 1st, and right now he's saying that he apologizes to anybody that he might have felt or he might have made uncomfortable if they felt that way. Those are, an amalgamation of his words over the past couple days. But right now he hasn't done a press briefing regularly. He did speak to us earlier this week on a press call, but he said, I never touched anyone inappropriately. However, now we do have stories out of women, one woman, a sixth accuser that the Times-Union reported, who we still don't know her name, detailed an account of, or an associate detailed an account that she had been groped by the governor in the executive mansion. And that's very concerning for a lot of lawmakers and, of course, investigators, people who have not yet said that the governor should step aside. And now they're kind of being pushed in that direction, which is what we're seeing again in the State Assembly and, of course, the Senate. But I think with what happened yesterday in the State Assembly, a lot of lawmakers have been just troubled by what they're hearing, but they also want to grant due process to both the victims and the governor. So what happens, I think they are going to try to have some haste, and as well as the Attorney General's office, they have started scheduling interviews with some of the victims, but who knows how long this will take.
Marina, do we know where the Senate is on impeachment? Because as we know, if the Assembly passes its impeachment resolution, it would go to the Senate for a trial. So I would assume that senators are thinking about this on some level.
Yes, at this point, very few senators have come out in support of impeachment at this point. We have an increasing amount who are calling on the governor to resign, to really sort of spare the state from an impeachment probe, where there are so many questions that are still unsettled, like whether any of the allegations could be impeachable. I think there is, definitely just growing pressure, especially in the Senate, for the governor to resign.
That's the big question, is like the legal terms. Like when we think of impeachment on the federal level, it's high crimes misdemeanors. And I don't know the exact wording in the state constitution, but it's something similar. And then you have to think like as a trial in the Senate, which would be overseen by the chief judge of the State Court of Appeals. How do they match that legal definition? But we have about a minute left. I want to touch really quickly on the stimulus package that was signed by the president this week. New York State is getting $12.5 billion to the state government, and various agencies around the state, like the MTA, are getting money, counties are getting money. Bern, what are we hearing? Are people happy about it?
Right. Well, we're getting a lot more money than we had anticipated.
Definitely more than I thought.
For sure. I mean, like you said, the state's getting over $12 billion. The city is getting close to $7 billion. County governments are also getting a big pot. And this is very important because we thought last year that we were going to have a massive deficit from revenue losses, et cetera, due to the coronavirus, as well as, there's always some money issues going into the state budget. But talking to people like, from the Citizens Budget Commission, Andrew Ryan, for example, who say, listen, we have enough money to plug our hole this year and potentially some money for next year. So let's work on restructuring areas like education and healthcare, and where can we figure out to plug holes, but then also have a roadmap so that we can start saving money for the future. And so it is good. However, the governor has been saying tax hikes might still be on the table. Of course, the legislature is also considering that. That's something that members are always considering. But we don't know what that will look like. One houses are coming out next week, and we have a budget due.
There's just a little bit too much going on in Albany right now, but that's what we're here for. So Bernadette Hogan from the New York Post, Marina Villenueve from the AP, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.